Easter Seals has been a leading provider of programs and services for children and youth with physical disabilities for over 100 years in Ontario. And that, my friends, is an incredible accomplishment. You see, at Easter Seals, they believe that great adults come from empowered children. The important work of this vitally critical organization is our next topic of conversation on the Speak Up podcast, which is why I was thrilled to engage in conversation with Kevin Collins, the president and CEO of Easter Seals Ontario, and Arlene Campbell, the incoming Senior Manager of Services. This conversation is chock full of great information which will improve your child's everyday and recreational well-being, and my conversation with Collins and Campbell starts right now. We began by discussing how the organization works every day to help children with physical disabilities succeed in the world.
Absolutely, Kevin. And so basically, as you've described there, Easter Seals, we've been around for over 100 years now. And our sole focus has been and continues to be to provide funding for accessibility and mobility equipment. Ideally, the purpose is to improve the daily quality of life by reducing pain and increasing freedom of movement and removing barriers that limit kids with disabilities, their ability to fully experience the world. You know, we also provide fully accessible summer camp experiences for individuals and families. And then the third aspect is we've got our scholarships. We established a scholarship program to provide children and youth with disabilities the financial support that they need to pursue their academic dreams. Almost $42,000 was made available last year through donors and the scholarship program. A couple of other things that we've got here too is our ambassador program. So ambassadors help create positive representation for kids with physical disabilities by sharing their achievements, potential, and contributions. And they serve as role models and educate people by sharing their stories and the challenges that many of them face on a day-to-day basis. And also our advocacy and education, a big part of what Arlene's going to be dealing with in the coming months and years is we're involved in public education initiatives, government consulting, and conference participation, raising awareness and tackling the major issues children and youth with physical disabilities face. And we raise this awareness through our social media channels and really focus on the potential of children and youth we serve.
Yeah, and I know one of your founding principles and something that you believe is that you're here to both empower children, and you think it will allow them to become empowered adults. So tell me about that sort of mission, because I know that you focus on the abilities of the people you serve and really empowering that independence, don't you?
Well, absolutely. And again, you know, by making sure that these individuals have the mobility and accessibility equipment they have, it allows them to gain the independence to learn life skills, but also, you know, follow their dreams and their goals. You know, if or whether it be through education, post-secondary education, or in work achievements. You know, with given the ability to do it, I think it's vitally important.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, I wonder your thoughts on what work you think Easter still needs to do to reduce barriers towards inclusion for children with disabilities, which will in turn lead them to a better adulthood as a result. What are your thoughts there?
Well, again, it's all about the advocacy, Kevin, is making sure that, you know, what we can do is to continue to be a voice for youth, kids, youth, and young adults with disabilities, as well as their families, to ensure that we're meeting with the right folks within the different political parties that we deal with, ensuring that we eliminate as much as possible and as best as possible any barriers that restrict individuals to have the opportunity to be themselves, to have the independence, and we all want to be, rightly or wrongly, tax-paying citizens within today's society. And so given the opportunity to be able to have that experience and be independent really will help everybody involved, not just the youth, but everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wondering if we can take a look now at the resources. One of the time that we're here to talk about today in terms of the eligibility and how families can apply. So we'll start with the equipment funding program, and can you walk me through how funding works and the types of equipment that can be funded at this time?
So Kevin, I'm going to take on that question. So in order to apply for equipment funding, a child has to be registered with Easter Seals Ontario. And to be eligible to register, they have to be a legal resident of Ontario. They have to have a valid Ontario health card. They have to be under the age of 19. And they have to have a permanent physical disability that restricts their independent mobility and results in the use of a primary mobility device such as a long-term orthotics, wheelchair, or walker. So part of that application process is a portion of the application must be completed by an occupational therapist or a physiotherapist. And then once Easter Seals receives the application, it normally takes about 4 to 6 weeks to process. So once people are registered with Easter Seals and have met that criteria, they can go onto our website and they can apply for equipment funding. So the maximum amount that Easter Seals Ontario assists with is $3,000 per child per year. We only fund items that are currently on our list of approved items, and it's not an exhaustive list, but to give you an idea of some of the things that we fund. Accessibility aids such as porch lifts, ramps, scooter, van and portable lifts, ceiling track lifts, bath and toileting aids, communication aids, mobility aids, and orthotics. So we do ask that parents contribute the first $100. If there is any hardship, we can waive that fee. And all equipment is approved until our allocated funds are have run out. So as you know, we are a charity and we do special events, direct mail, just donations throughout the year to raise funds for this equipment. So once that allocated money has run out, then that's when we have to close the application process. But we are happy to say that in 2022 and 2023, and hopefully continuing for the future, that we are keeping our application process open for the full calendar year. So we're hoping to provide equipment to as many kids as possible throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a difference, doesn't it?
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, I'm wondering if we can move on to the Incontinence Grant Program, and if parents or guardians want to apply for that, or talk to me about the eligibility of that as well and what it covers as well. I'm curious.
Absolutely. So just in case anyone who's listening, Kevin doesn't know what incontinence is, it means the loss of bladder or bowel control. So Easter Seals Ontario administers this program, the Incontinence Supplies Grant Program, for the Ministry of Health. They fully fund this program, so we just do the administrative piece of it. It is an annual grant and it's made in 2 payments for families, and it's to offset some of the cost of diapers and certain supplies for incontinence. Some of the supplies that are paid for through this grant can include diapers, pull-ups, attends, swimmers, catheters, drainage bags. So the IG program, the criteria is set by the Ministry of Health. It's totally separate from Easter Seals. and it's for residents of Ontario between the ages of 3 and 18 years. They must have a valid Ontario health card, and they must have a chronic disability that results in irreversible incontinence or retention problems. And those issues must last longer than 6 months and require the use of incontinence supplies.
Well, Arlene, I want to thank you for going over those two important programs. And Kevin, I want to turn to you now and talk about summer camps. You've mentioned them briefly in your earlier remarks, but I know that summer camps is a large opportunity of what Easter Seals provides. And I'm curious, for anyone aspiring to send their child or the child that they're responsible for to summer camp, does Easter Seals cover the cost of that? And tell me about the summer camp experience as well.
Absolutely, Kevin. So we're very proud to have two camps. Camp Wood Eden is just outside of London, Ontario, and Camp Marywood is just outside of Perth, Ontario. And both are residential overnight camps. We offer individual camps, family camp, and a Voyageur camp. Now, the Voyageur camp is a newer program for us. It's basically what we found, Kevin, was because our clients are kids that we work with age out at 19, we found that there's a massive void of where kids could go beyond that to go to camp. And so we've extended the camping program through this Voyageur program up to the age of 39. So basically it allows individuals to continue their experience and getting that chance to get away. Our family camps are an excellent way for parents and their children to experience camp and to kind of learn together. Again, putting them in an environment where there's no restrictions on what they can or can't do. And bottom line, it gives the families an opportunity to share experience that with other families that may be going through similar challenges, having a child with a disability. All of our programs and activities are, as I mentioned, are fully accessible, and they're adapted to the needs of the campers to ensure that all children and youth get the chance to experience as much as they are able to. As you indicated, if someone's interested in attending one of our camps, they would need to make sure that they're registered with Easter Seals Ontario first, and they would need to meet our criteria as discussed earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, I also wanted your thoughts on if a parent or guardian watching or listening to this today is a little apprehensive to send their child away to a summer camp. I know that you said that they could attend together, but for those that really want their child to experience a sense of independence, what reassurance or advice can you offer to them to help them to get over that hurdle as well?
No, absolutely, Kevin. It is scary for any parent to send their child away for the first time. And for a parent of a child with a physical disability and often complex care needs, you can imagine the worry. We suggest that parents consider family camp to ease their minds and to allow them to experience our camps with their child before registering for individual camp. Our staff are well trained. They're passionate about ensuring a fun and, most of all, safe environment for our campers. We have many checks and balances in place to ensure the experience is safe, positive, and most importantly, enjoyable. And families are welcome to check in with staff throughout the campers time away to find out how the camper is doing. Having been a camper for many, many years myself, I can tell you personally, as well as having heard hundreds of testimonies over the years, that campers forge amazing friendships that often last a lifetime and get to experience programs and activities that they often can't participate in elsewhere. The sense of independence, the freedom, and the total enjoyment that so many kids experience is amazing. And as you can imagine, Kevin, parents and caregivers fully appreciate the respite while knowing that their child is being taken care of and experiencing new and exciting opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Arlene, back over to you. I'm wondering if there are any other programs or services or resources that Easter Seals provides that you'd like to share with me this afternoon?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, especially about our scholarships. As Kevin said, there's almost 42 or just over $42,000 worth available this year. So that's pretty amazing to help kids with physical disabilities who their families often endure financial hardships because of all the equipment costs and everything else. So it's amazing that we can offer that. We also have a leaders in training program at our camps. They are offered at both our camp in Wood Eden and at Marywood this year. And they participate in group activities, and it's really focusing on leadership, communication, and teamwork. So it's a great experience to build people up who want to become camp counselors. And often our camp counselors end up in positions like in the healthcare field. So it's a great opportunity for them to see where their interests lie. We also have our camps in the off season are available for rentals. So the money from these rentals help supplement the cost associated with running our camps. So we do rent them out for things such as family reunions, weddings, specialized events such as yoga or sports events or corporate days. So amazing venues that are fully accessible to everybody. We also have a lot of online resources on our website. We provide a lot of information with regards to like-minded organizations such as Easter Seals, and it provides support to people with disabilities. And we're super excited and really hopeful that podcasts such as this, Kevin, will help us to bridge gaps and help empower families by providing information needed to access all the available resources to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, I'm wondering if I can turn back to you just to ask you your opinion on trends that you're seeing across the province in terms of servicing families with disabilities, and what have they been telling you about the needs across the province recently? I'm curious.
Well, as we all know, Kevin, coming through that very unique situation regarding to the pandemic is what I'm talking about. The impact that had on our kids, youth, young adults, and their families was just overwhelming. I mean, a lot of these kids face leading up to the pandemic, isolation and a number of factors, and this just further compounded the challenges that they were facing and not being able to get out of their homes and being able to get to appointments with doctors or physios, and just it was a real setback. And the other thing that was truly impacted was the availability of equipment. A lot of these kids had to wait, and some are still waiting to get the proper equipment ordered and sized up for them so that they can, utilize them properly. And I mean, it's something that we continue to work with all of our vendors, with all the occupational therapists, physiotherapists, the children's treatment centers across the province, to try and close that gap to ensure that, we get to as many of these kids and their families as much as we possibly can to ensure that they get everything that they possibly need. The other thing that we constantly are working through our advocacy is working with the Assistant Devices program here in the province of Ontario. We want to make sure that, the list of eligible items that they have currently on their list is up to date. We want to make sure that the current trends of needs are met so that ADP is aware of it and can update and make sure that the funding is provided for those particular pieces of equipment. I can think of one massive big ticket item, and that's hospital beds. Currently, ADP doesn't provide any funding for hospital beds. And so we're seeing a massive demand for, kids and families that require that type of equipment to ensure that they can stay home, be safe, and live the best comfortable life as possible. So those are some of the things and trends that we're seeing as we move forward to, work collectively with not only the provincial government, but other agencies to ensure that we're meeting all the needs as best as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, I know you recently had a chance to come to Windsor and tour the John McGivney Children's Center, and I'm curious what impressed you most about the center and our region as a whole, and how the center continues to meet the needs of children and families with disabilities.
Well, and thanks, Kevin, for leading into this. I mean, one thing I'd like to share with your listeners is Easter seals originated in Windsor in 1922. That's where the seed was planted. That's where we got started. So Windsor has a very special place in all of our hearts because of that factor. But getting a chance to meet Jennifer and the entire team of the John McGivney Center was an unbelievable treat. I mean, the one thing, not only the facility, what you offer, what you have in place for kids and their families to experience, but the passion and dedication of the entire team is just an amazing reassurance that, everybody within the Windsor and surrounding area needs to have an opportunity to visit the center and really see the impact of what that organization has been doing for a vast number of years to help make a difference within the communities.
Yeah, and I'm also going to allow the two of you to answer this question on however you wish, because I'm also, Kevin, I know that you also have a disability yourself, and I know, Arlene, as you transition from Kevin's assistant, you'll have an interesting answer to this question. So I'm curious, what is your definition of the power of inclusion, and what do you think people need to know about the skills and abilities of children and adults with disabilities as well?
Well, again, for me, having lived it and continue to live it on a day-to-day basis, I mean, given the opportunity, I mean, Easter Seals has played a significant role in my life since I was a child myself. As I mentioned earlier on, I got to attend summer camps for 8 summers as a kid growing up. I was a regional ambassador in my home community of Orillia. I was a provincial ambassador when I was 12. And so all of those experiences has led up to me being what I am today. And for me personally, Kevin, is every child, no matter what situation they're dealing with, has a dream and has a goal or has inspired to do or be something. And so through the support of organizations like Easter Seals and our incredibly generous donors, sponsors, volunteers, and supporters, we're able to provide the funding that helps them with the equipment that they need, the post-secondary scholarship opportunities that they may take advantage of, but the experiences at camp so that they can follow their dreams and their goals and be whatever they want to be. I try to reassure the kids that I get a chance to meet and speak with is, don't let anybody tell you can't do something. You're the only one that can make that message or say that message. So bottom line is, given an opportunity, I always say you will be amazed at what kids, youth, and young adults with disabilities can achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arlene, how do you look at the power of inclusion, and how important is the work that you do for Easter Seals? I'm curious.
Kevin, I've always lived by the adage of treating others how I would like to be treated. And I just think, excuse me, that you really do talk to the person and not the disability. I mean, everybody's their own individual. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat.
Take your time.
And I think it's just incredible when you provide people with the right tools, the right equipment, treat people as everybody as an individual, and really speak to their own abilities, that you just actually visibly see the difference when you treat people that way, that you're not looking at someone as someone with spina bifida or muscular dystrophy or whatever it is. You're looking at an individual who has just as much, if not more, to give than just people that are living without disabilities, So I really just like to treat people as individuals and really not look at the disability, because everyone has their own potential, and you just have to figure out how you provide that and what you can do to really empower people.
Yeah, Arlene, I always say that everyone's portrait of success is different, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Kevin, tell me, if someone wants to donate to Easter Seals, how can they do that? And tell me about the power of each donation that is made.
Absolutely, Kevin. So basically, individuals can go to our website, easterseals.org, to donate online. They can donate through our direct mail campaigns if you're on our mailing list, or over the phone at 416-421-8377. As we are a charitable organization, we rely on the generosity of our amazing donors. The positive impact, as you indicated, Kevin, that these donations make is, as you can imagine, many of the families we serve face tremendous emotional and financial strain. Donations help make life more accessible by helping them get essential equipment that they need for daily living. Many items purchased allow kids to experience greater dignity and a sense of accomplishment that comes with being able to do things on their own. Donations also provide many with the opportunity to enjoy inclusive and fully accessible summer camps, as we talked about. So, a massive impact. And again, the one item that I again stress is our scholarship programs, giving those individuals who do decide or are able to go on to post-secondary, this little bit of funding helps them and their families make sure that that does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, if people want to get connected with Easter Seals, what's the best way they can do that on a continuous basis?
Again, through our website is the best way, Kevin, at easterseals.org. It has a full list of all the different events that we do throughout the province, and all of the exciting things that we're doing, on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis with our kids. Our monthly newsletters provide a great update. So once you've applied to be on our mailing list, you'll be kept up to date as to all the great things that Easter Seals are doing. And this month alone is March's Easter Seals month. So you'll see a lot of notes around, a lot of advertisements around, really helping drive the impact of what Easter Seals has done for the past 102 years, but also laying the foundation for the next 100 years to make sure that we continue to do the important work that we've been doing.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin and Arlene, I have to tell you that you are truly making a difference and making inroads in the conversation of progress for families and children with disabilities. The work that you do at Easter Seals is most admirable, and I want to thank the two of you for engaging in conversation and answering my questions this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
Thanks so much, Kevin, for giving us this opportunity, but thank you more for putting this out there so that we can provide resources and information to people. It's so important to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, and without a doubt, Kevin, you yourself are a true champion of what you're doing and what you continue to do. So thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share our stories, but most importantly, thank you for everything you continue to do to help make a difference within your community.